If we are not intentional, it is so easy for our dream to become a job that we hate, and a task that we loathe, a chore that we can endure no more. I remember when I first had the dream of starting DJConnection.com out of my college dorm room at Oral Roberts University. I was so excited to start my own company, to work for myself. In fact, I was willing to work at 3 different companies simultaneously to start that company. Target, Applebee's, and DirecTV. My wife worked at Office Depot and Oral Roberts University. We lived without air conditioning. We shared one car. We lived in a small apartment. We did whatever it took to build that business. But at a certain point, I realized, oh man, I'm DJing nearly 200 shows per year, and this is a job that I don't want. But yet, I work for myself. How did this happen? I'm booked out for the next year and a half. How did this happen? My life is filled with obligations. How did this happen? I don't even like the people who work in my office. I can't stand any of these people. How did it happen? How did I create a culture that I didn't like? What weeds did I not pull? What people did I not fire? How could I have allowed myself to create a company that I no longer like?
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrivetime Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
All Thrive Nation, welcome back to another exciting edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast download. Now, Dr. Z, on today's show, we have 10 minutes and 2 big ideas we need to get into.
Ooh, let's get it on.
So big idea number 1, Mr. So Fine, Matt Klein. Matt Klein. Hey, Matt Klein, you're so fine. You're so fine. You're so fine. Matt Klein, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Matt Klein. Come on, Z. Matt Klein. Okay, sorry, we're Caucasian. We've worked on that for several weeks. And that's all we got.
Apparently, it doesn't show.
Okay, so here we go, Matt.
It was right in sync.
Yeah, it felt good. It didn't sound good, but it felt like it sounded good.
I would play that. I'd rewind the tape.
Put that on repeat. That's the remix. Okay, so here we go. Now, when your dream becomes a job before it becomes a dream again. Think about it.
Whoa, time out. What did you just say?
When your dream becomes a job,
Okay.
but before it becomes a dream again.
So like let's say I want to start a business.
Yep.
I start the business. Let's say I buy a franchise. Let's say I buy an OxyFresh franchise.
OxyFresh.
OxyFresh.
So
It's
clean.
So fresh.
Yes.
It's such a great deal.
Such a great deal.
So then I have a job, but it's not.
Because you own your own business.
Right.
So now you create your own schedule. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. You got your own schedule. You got your own auto-wrap vehicle, the new opportunity, your new territory.
Yeah.
And you've got, that honeymoon phase where you're excited.
Can I get the shirts that have my name embroidered?
Oh, you
on
got
them?
the name embroidered, Matt. You got the business cards. You've met the top franchisees in OxyFresh. You've been doing it for 5 years.
Wow, this is exciting.
6 years. You're Matt. You've met. I mean, you're at this point. You've met people that have done well. You've called them on the phone to verify they're real. You're excited, but now you're alone.
Sounds like it's my dream.
Now you're alone in some rural community in Illinois or Michigan or Florida, wherever. And you realize, frick, I got to get reviews. And my best friend who said he would do the company with me, he just quit.
Oh, man.
And now your dream became a job. Matt, help us. How do we get through that phase?
Yeah, and this is I don't care if you're the best franchise in the world, you will run across this, right? I mean, whether it's really struggling with, going from 1 technician to 2, or the fact that, it is imperative that you go have a conversation with a property manager, because that will make or break the next few months in terms of your growth. And it's exactly that, right? All the good feelings are now over, and you're looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I have this much time in the day. What am I going to do with it? Right? Am I going to go play some golf? Golf is great. It's fun. Love it. Or am I going to work on my business and I'm going to get it to a point where tomorrow or next year I'm going to be way, way more growth oriented than I was yesterday or the year before. So, that honeymoon piece of it is a great expression to use because it's just like it's like a relationship. It's like anything else. When you first get it, you've done the first step. Now you are a business owner. You have the title of business owner. That's important. That's exciting. It's good for your psyche. It gets you out the door. But sustaining that excitement and going out and having small wins through the day, whether that's going through a training session with your technicians, whether that's having a goal of talking to 5 people that day, that just having the consistency in your business will get you through that piece of the business where you do have a job, right? You need to treat it like that because the more time you spend on it, the faster you'll grow. If you just sit there and twiddle your thumbs, you'll have to go find another job.
Winston Churchill, who I realized did not own an OxyFresh, but he could have.
Are you sure about that?
Well, he could. We don't know. He was leading the United Kingdom in a horrible war against the Nazis, and he did win. But
you think he had dirty carpets? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying that probably wasn't a top priority for him. They said, Winston, do you want to clean the carpet?
Okay, I don't know. I mean, I
would love
wasn't
to
around
clean the
back then.
carpet, but let's beat the Germans first. But the thing is, Winston Churchill, he once said, the price of greatness is responsibility. The price of greatness is responsibility. So, Matt, I want to go through point 2, all the things that you have to be responsible for as a business owner. And I'm going to start with Z. And then, Matt, I'm going to have you one-up him. So you can kind of take notes and one-up Z.
All right.
Okay? So here we go. And
easy to
Andrew,
do.
put this on the show notes. 1, you can never stop recruiting. You can never stop recruiting. 2, you can never stop advertising. 3, you can never stop training people. 4, you can never stop doing accounting. And there are many other things, too, but that's the big 4. See, you can never stop recruiting. So you buy an OxyFresh, you start a new business, you open a new optometry clinic, whatever. Why can you never stop recruiting?
Because those employees will leave on their terms whenever they want to. It's not what's convenient for you. I have a horrible story right now going on in my life. I've got a doctor that's leaving me, and my daughter's pregnant at the same time, and she's going to have a baby, my 3rd grandchild. And I went to this doctor and said, hey, can you just stay for just a couple more months? That'd be just huge in my life, just a couple more months.
One more minute with us. Okay, back to you.
And they said no, and I was just like, ugh. And why did they say no? Because they didn't want to. It wasn't in their best interest. And so you've always got to have the pump primed.
Yeah.
You've always got to be able to have the next up. I mean, there's a reason why Belichick would say next up, because he has a next up.
This is a thought that is uncomfortable for somebody out there, but someone needs to hear this. My wife and I, we've had 5 kids, but we had a late-term miscarriage. And Z, I don't know about you, but typically when I have a life tragedy or something horrible happen, I typically don't get to consult with the man upstairs. I'm like, dear God, if something bad happens, and I know it may, could it happen on like a Thursday? Because I typically DJ on Saturdays.
Yeah, or the Monday after the.
Yeah, just a Monday would be good.
Yeah.
God, if we could time that, or like when my son was born and he couldn't see. Or I can go on and on tragedies, people dying in my life. My best friend, my first DJ partner guy, died in college in a car accident. These are all horrible things. And I just had this conversation with somebody about a year ago, and they said, I can't run my business this month because my wife had a miscarriage. And I need to be with her. And I'm like, dude, I care as a human. Like you, me, we let's go have a beer. Let's hang out. Let's hug. I care. But you as like a business owner, you can't put the sign up on the door as a chiropractor. This is the guy in Dallas, chiropractor. You can't put a sign up that says, I'm out of business. You can't do it.
You can't.
He had a membership-based model, chiropractic care. And this is the words he said to me, Matt. And tell me if you've ever heard something like this. They go, well, man, I didn't buy this to buy a job. I bought this to have like time freedom. Have you ever heard that kind of thing, Matt?
I hear it before, present, after. It's a big, big thing. And, I think it's just a frame of mind. You got to kind of get out of that. Don't think of a job and a business. Just think of being successful. What do you need to do? Right? If today means you need to go out and talk to people, go out and talk to people, because there's certainly competitors that are doing that. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, if you consider owning a business and doing something for your business a job, then absolutely, you just bought yourself a job. Right? If you think you're going to buy something and sit there and do nothing, then you must be pretty rich, because you just bought yourself an investment business, which is extremely hard. And you also have a job that's managing the people running the business, which also could be way, way harder than just running your own business.
And I've read a lot of books about people that are very, very successful. And I remember J. Paul Getty reading his book, and Z, you remind me of J. Paul Getty in a great many ways. Have you read about J. Paul Getty?
Sure, of course.
There's many attributes of him that are very, very favorable, very similar to you. He was a guy who is easy for him to make decisions at a certain point in his career. Like, if he had capable lieutenants, he could make the decision. But he also didn't like mindless distractions. So he moved all the way to Europe, even though all of his business dealings were in the Middle East and America, but he's like, I'm going to Europe. So you couldn't have access to him, but he liked to hang out with people. So he'd have big parties and big events and big galas, but he actually made more money by being uninterrupted. But as in his book, he talks about, his book's called As I See It, he talked about the biggest responsibility, the biggest struggle of being the world's wealthiest man is he's responsible for all that. And just like you've said many times, Z, people say, what's it like running multiple companies? You say it's like the plates.
Yeah, it's like the vaudeville act where you have the sticks and the plates and, and you run over and see which one's wobbling the most, and you run it, and you spin it and get it back straight.
But he basically explained in great, eloquent detail that passive income is not a thing for anyone.
Right.
Even the world's wealthiest man.
Right.
Like every one of those assets. I mean, Matt, he had oil that was being pulled out of the ground in the Middle East. And those people had like violence going on all the time. So occasionally he'd have to send over a militia to deal with it.
It's crazy.
He'd have to repossess stuff. I mean, he actually owned ESPN and didn't know it. Did you know that?
How does that happen?
I got the book on my shelf. The guy he put in charge of his petty cash, which was something like $3 million. He could spend up to $3 million a month or something without asking. He met these two guys who had this business they'd been trying to start for years, based in Bristol, Connecticut, that was this failing all sports network. And they were going to sell it for like 10 cents on the dollar in investments. He's like, sure. So J. Paul Getty, ends up calling this guy. He's like, do we own ESPN? Yes, sir, we do. Okay, well, make it work. But all I'm saying is like, when he found out they owned ESPN, I don't know if you're, Matt, are you familiar with the early ESPN stories?
Maybe not the early one. I just certainly know he owned ESPN.
Dude, there are so many I'll give you just one story. They didn't have any money for advertising, and J. Paul Getty wouldn't give him any more because he didn't know he owned it. They just had a monthly budget for things.
Sure.
So the producers were like, we gotta figure this out. So what they did is they went to the Kentucky Derby, and they put a mic in front of celebrities.
Oh, yeah, I knew this.
And they said, why did you like today's race? And they're like, oh, the energy was awesome. They go to the next guy. What did you like about your horse winning today? And they're like, oh, just the energy, the exhilaration. I love it. And they put it all into a compilation, and their commercial went, why do people love ESPN? And then it's people saying,
all these people,
I love it. And they did it all without asking anyone's permission. People thought they were being interviewed about the race.
Sure.
So, again, he got legal notices, like, you guys can't do that. And the second move his team did, very crafty, is CBS had the rights to all the games. So they made, like, fake lanyards, and they would kind of sneak into the game and play little games. And they would be filming, or they would have, like, access, but from a limited access, like upper deck filming only.
Yeah.
And then their camera guy would wear a red ESPN jacket. They made all their guys wear red ESPN jackets. And they would stand directly in front of the CBS cameras whenever they would go live to that camera. So when the red light on the camera would go on live, it would say ESPN.
Oh, how fun.
And they just kept doing it. And they had people they had headsets and they're like, go on down there to the 40-yard line. They're going to go live. And stand! And they would jump right in front. And that's how they got ESPN.
Stand!
But again, that was the world's wealthiest guy. There's no such thing as passive income. Let's talk about never stop advertising, Matt. Why can you never stop advertising as a owner of any kind of business?
Yeah, especially now, I think it's more than ever, because in a span of 10 years, print mail has, really reduced its effectiveness, and internet marketing and many, many companies within that internet marketing realm have come to the surface. So if you don't understand what's going on, that's one big problem. If you don't have the resources and the ability to take advantage of those through setting up platforms and being able to have relationships with those companies, that's a whole nother problem, right? So being able to not only have the budget set there and know it's going to come back in a return for you, that scares a lot of people. I don't want to spend that much money. Well, but you want to make this much. So, everything's relative. So you're either going to spend money or you're going to spend time in growing your business. We want you to do both so that you can really grow faster and more efficient than the next guy. But when you look at all these types of things, the budget should always be there, and it should almost sometimes be increasing. That doesn't mean your marketing ROIs shouldn't go down. They should go up. So always marketing, always having your thumb on the pulse of the current marketing trends, and building relationships with those vendors will allow you to call them if something's going great. I want to increase my budget. If something's not going great, why is that going on? So just pushing play and letting it go is not enough anymore. You want to be able to have a relationship, know who your people are that can help you with that specific marketing campaign, and continually trend up and be able to push the button on things that aren't working and try new things. That's a big one. Trying new things will always help you grow because, if you're an early adopter of something, you can very, very much take advantage of a huge market. People are usually late adopters to marketing. So if you can always stay atop of that, you'll be able to grow pretty efficiently, consistently.
Dr. Zellner, let's move on to this next area that you can never stop doing. Let's talk about accounting for a second. Why can you never just abdicate accounting and just say, well, whatever. My accountant handles it. No big deal.
Got money in the bank. Who
Dude,
cares?
what's going to happen to your tax situation if you do that?
It'd be bad. And one thing in that organization called IRS,
Fascinating people. They're great people.
They're super people.
We love the people.
Oh, yeah. Every now and then they'll want to do an audit on your business.
When you get a signed letter from it, it's awesome. I frame those usually.
I do too.
Yeah.
They're the best.
By the way, I thought about it, and I figured that if I continue to pay the taxes I'm paying every year, in 30 years, I will have paid for one warhead that was used, like one solid missile, the ballistic missiles.
Yeah.
Not like a nuke, but a solid, nice, solid.
Hey, listen, don't kid yourself. If your income's going to continue to increase, so maybe you can afford a nuke.
Yeah, this just that maybe my tax dollars could buy a really nice nuke.
That's
okay. Back to you, Zane. Back to you. Just thoughts. Just
thoughts. Little Midwestern boy, a dream. You got a dream. Well, the thing about it is what's so great about accounting is it is your guide rails for your business. When you look at your profit and loss statements every month, i.e., which is your accounting, and it lets you know where you stand month to month, quarter to quarter, year to year. And that's very important for you to know if the decisions you're making, if you're trying something new, like Matt Superfine Klein said, if you're trying something new, you go, oh, wow, I see a trend now. I'm going to continue to do that, or now I'm going to change gears and do something else. And so it helps let you guide your business, number one. Number two, it keeps you out of trouble with the IRS, which, trust me, you don't want to be in trouble with the IRS.
No, you want to. I'm not kidding about this for all the listeners out there. It is so important that you stay on top of your taxes and you always pay what is owed. If anything, I'd pay a little extra if you're not sure. I totally disagree with the idea of fighting with the IRS because how does that always turn out?
They've got a gun and you have like a pocket knife. It's not really a fair fight. I'm not saying you can't sneak up on them in a pocket knife and get someone. Gotcha. But typically, I'd rather have the gun or the tank in that fight.
Now somebody says, I wanted the rest of the story. The guy who is running J. Paul Getty's fund, his name is Stuart Evey, E-V-E-Y, the former chairman of ESPN. The guys who started ESPN, it was Bill Rasmussen, along with his son, Scott Rasmussen. They started the company in 1979, and they did not make a profit for what other things weren't disclosed until they became a public thing. Many believe it's like 13 to 14 years.
Right.
So ESPN, was unbelievable. If you want to read the story, it's called Creating an Empire. Put it on the show notes there because, Andrew, this book is a fascinating read for anybody who feels like, man, my business is crazy. No, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Running ESPN with no marketing budget, that is crazy. Now, the next area you can never stop doing is training, Matt. You can never stop training people. Why can you not ever stop? Why can you never stop training people?
Yeah, that's a pretty big one because, people get comfortable. If there's not consistent training, they'll fall behind, right? Letting them know not only what they're doing on a daily basis is important, but how that impacts the business, their paycheck, being up to date on new trends in terms of, for us at least, cleaning systems, processes, right? And you can do a lot of that through reporting. So you can train and keep training people because of their productivity and your ability to understand how they're producing and what their customers are saying about them. Or you can just have consistent training that's already scheduled, and you don't have to rely on customers and their feedback. You just know everyone's always trained consistently. So keeps everyone on their toes, make sure they're doing what they need to be doing, make sure there's a complete confidence level in that technician and how they're going about their day, right? If they're confident in their job, they're doing the right things, they're going to be able to get those reviews at a much higher level. than if they go in and they're trying to figure out maybe if they did a good job or not. So consistent training is going to be a huge piece of any business.
Z, I have a question I'd like to ask you, and I certainly don't expect you to be a marriage counselor, but this question was asked at the conference by somebody who couldn't ask you directly, and I said, I'm going to ask you. This was the question. They're saying, hey, I get that I might have to work 6 or 7 days a week.
Okay, got it.
To get my startup off the ground. They didn't buy an OxyFresh. It's not a franchise. It's a startup business. And they go, I get it, but I don't think my spouse gets it. And I'm going, okay, your spouse doesn't get it, but you get it? What does she want you to do? He goes, well, she says I'm a business owner. I need to be working just like 40 hours a week or 30-something. The guy up top needs to be, working.
I need to be working those kind of hours.
And I said, well, you have a dream. It's become a job. And it will continue to always be a job unless you're willing to put in the work until it becomes a dream again. What would you say to somebody out there? Let's say there's a woman out there listening, and she owns the company, and her husband just doesn't understand the idea of the sacrifices and the trade-offs, or vice versa. In this case, it was a woman who didn't see the purpose of the trade-offs and sacrifices that he wanted to make. At least that's what I heard. So what advice would you have for this person?
A song comes to mind, and then I'll explain why the song comes to mind. Yeah, it's skyrockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
Afternoon delight.
And why a rocket came into my mind is because the analogy of starting a business is like launching a rocket into outer space. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of work, a lot of fuel. In fact, most of the rocket is just the engine to get it up into orbit. But once you get it up into orbit, spouse, I would say to my spouse then, once it's up into orbit, then it takes less time. It takes less effort. It takes less fuel to maneuver that little bad boy around once you get up into orbit. So early on, it's all hands on deck, and you need to have that talk before you buy the OxyFresh franchise. You need to have, everybody needs to be on the same page. But I'm going to tell everybody out there, you've also got to listen to your spouse because you have to give them the ability to say, hey, honey.
Hey,
dude. I forgot what you look like. Would you mind stopping by the house tonight? Remember where we lived when we had kids. Hey, dude, come home.
Matt Klein. We have more songs in store, but we're short on time here. So I want to ask you, for anybody out there who says, I would like to look into buying an OxyFresh because I have a dream. And I don't mind if it becomes a job. And if it's only $57,000 to get into the game, that's cool because I hate my current job. I want to take my current job, transmute that into a business that I own. I want to turn I have a big dream, and I'm willing for it to become a job and then become a dream again. Matt, what are the steps to getting a hold of So Fine, Matt Klein?
Yep. So when you guys are ready to, take that step into looking into a business that may fit your needs and your goals, go on, fill out the form. Once you do that, we'll get your information. We'll reach out, set up an intro call, start learning about you and what you're looking to accomplish, areas of the country you're looking to service potentially. We'll start getting into the details of the business, go through all the financial piece in terms of operational side of the business. So through many conversations, lots of document sharing, franchise disclosure review, we'll get to a point whether this business makes sense to you or not. Whichever decision you make is fine, but if it does make sense, you want to take the next steps. The goal is to get you out to Denver, Colorado to go through the training.
Yeah.
And that will be with our team here in our home office where everything is located. And from there, if it makes sense, then you become a franchise. So in lesser words, that's the process, but we'll take it through one step at a time.
Go to thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh. That's thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh to learn more. And Z, I'm going to cue this audio for you before we have to go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Gonna find my baby, gonna hold her tight, gonna grab some afternoon delight. My motto's always been when it's right, it's right. Why wait until the middle of a cold, dark night when everything's a little clearer in the light of day? And we know the night is always gonna be here anyway. Thinking of you's working up my
appetite.
Looking forward to a little afternoon delight. Rubbing sticks and stones together, making sparks ignite. And the thought of loving you.
Oh, here we go. We all know the words. All together.
Rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
You guys have that.
Nice.
Afternoon delight.
Oh,
Well done, Thrive
Matt,
Nation.
that goes out to you. We're sorry.
I appreciate that, guys. That was wonderful.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom! If you have yet to attend an in-person Thrivetime Show workshop, I would encourage you to do so by booking your tickets today. Just go to thrivetimeshow.com. That's thrivetimeshow.com. Click on the conferences button and find the next event that's right for you and your family. This event is going to change your life. You're going to meet real entrepreneurs out there just like you. I promise the Thrivetime Show in-person workshop will change your life. If you implement what you learn, it's going to absolutely take your life to the next level. And if you don't believe me, just do some research on YouTube. We have over 1,000 objective video reviews from real people who've attended the real in-person Thrivetime Show workshop. We also have over 1,000 reviews on iTunes, and we also have over 500 reviews on Google. Just read the reviews, book your tickets. We'll see you at our next in-person Thrivetime Show workshop. And before we go, I must confess, many people on the Thrivetime Show team have told me that I have not asked you enough to share the Thrivetime Show podcast with a friend. And there's all sorts of case studies and examples and proof that if you share a show that you like with someone that you know or have fellowship with, that it works. So again, I would ask you today, if you like today's show, if you laughed and learned something, who can you share today's show with? Share it with them on Spotify, on iTunes. Just share a link on Instagram or Facebook, maybe Twitter, because I sincerely believe that the Thrivetime Show has the power and the capacity to change somebody's life. Our mission is to mentor millions, and that includes you and the friends that you know. And we'll meet up again tomorrow.
Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodward Finishing. I'm business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
And to be honest with you, we're blown away with the results we've had in just one quarter.
It was one of the best things I've ever done. It freed my time, increased our sales, and at the end of the day, increased our profitability beyond my wildest expectations.
It's been a significant investment, but it's the best money I've ever spent. It's been a very positive experience. We've only been at it for 6 months or so, and we've already seen a significant amount of growth. And I can see everything becoming much more organized, much more efficient. I know what my numbers are in a much more realistic way on a day-to-day basis. So my experience has just been very positive overall.
You know, since working with Aaron, our leads have gone up dramatically. It's not one of those things where it's like, yeah, I kind of notice. It's holy cow, where are all these? It's you almost feel overwhelmed at times, and it's just our presence in general has been changed just dramatically. Like Clay, he was dropping his wife off at the airport, and he had his Flint Rock hat on, and there was some other construction companies there, and they asked him, it's like, where the heck did you guys come from? You guys are everywhere now. And you just can't get away from how noticeable of a difference that it makes. There's no denying it. just on a personal level, as far as what it's like working with Aaron, he is just a consummate professional, and just with an immense amount of dedication to the task at hand, and just to you as a company, trying to help you succeed. And you know, I think I've said this before, but his just availability to you, and he's genuinely invested in your success, and it's been wonderful.
And I feel like that's why the two of you work great together. Joe, to me, like, obviously, like, the more technical, you're probably the more visionary, and that's like the two of it coming together is what, to me, what makes it work. And it's like a missing piece for us that I enjoy having.
Hi, I'm Amy Cheney. My husband and I are owners of Cheney Construction here in Pampa, Texas. And I was a little skeptical at first because my husband's tried to do things like this before. But once I was able to speak with Clay myself, I thought we need to give this a chance. So we were able to determine that the savings that we have from the decision that we made each month is going to be roughly about $2,000 a week, so it's about $8,000 a month. Plus, we also made the decision to get rid of a billboard that hadn't really brought us any business, and that was another $475 a month. So we're looking at $8,500 a month, and that's a really big deal. So my first thoughts when Clay introduced us to the weekly Know Your Numbers system was, no big deal, we don't need to do that. We have a secretary that's an amazing QuickBooks person, and so she enters all of that stuff every single day for us. So we don't need to do that ourselves. QuickBooks will pull a report, that's all we need. We don't need anything else. There's no sense in me double duty. Clay, do you understand how many transactions are in our bank statement every single month? It would take me forever to do. So very resistant, because I thought, we already know our numbers. We already have everything into QuickBooks, and we already know what we need to know, and we can pull a report to provide you with that information. So some of the struggles in being able to complete this action item were getting the want to do it. Once I actually decided, okay, Clay, you can stop asking me. I'm actually going to sit down and do this every single week, and actually got through it. That was it. Like, I've made that commitment. It takes me maybe 20 minutes on, every Saturday morning to go in and do the previous weeks. Now that I've been doing it for a while, I'm kind of on a roll, and so it makes it a lot easier. So one of the things we discovered when we started looking at the money this closely was that my husband doesn't want to know the numbers, first of all. He pays good money to have someone do that for him because he just doesn't want to know. It's not his thing. And so I had worked for an accountant previous to this, so that's kind of my thing. So for him to be able to sit down and take a look and see some of the things we're spending money on that he probably didn't even realize, or to realize how much we've been paying some employees that were not operating as A players. That was the big eye-opener for my husband. But when he saw the numbers of what we were paying in payroll expenses for two team members that were not operating as A players and hadn't been for quite some time, that was a huge eye-opener for him, and he realized that he needed to take that emotion out of that decision and make it a business decision. It's accountability for your secretary as well, or your bookkeeper, whoever does your books, especially if it's not yourself, because if you've not ever had anybody embezzle money from you, then you're very fortunate. So it's really good to have that accountability. We've had that happen in the past to us, and so my secretary's actually even come back to me and said, hey Amy, I really appreciate that you're doing this now, because now at the end of the month, if there's not any money, then you know exactly where the money's went. You and Jimmy have known exactly where the money's gone. So we're not coming to her going, where's all our money? Because that's not a good position for her to be in either. So like I said, just knowing where your dimes are going is a huge deal, and being able to know where to cut back from, that's a big deal, but also the accountability for everyone on your team.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what What do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due, and Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be, when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous. Just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach, you know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, you know, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever is important. You know, my rich dad was one of those persons. I wanted to learn how to play Monopoly in real life, so he was my coach.
Well, Carter, you know, we have an opportunity here at the Thrivetime Show to work with some really great business owners, people that are actually serious about growing their company. They go to thrivetimeshow.com and they reach out to schedule a free 13-point assessment. And oftentimes I hop on the phone with these folks and we figure out if they're a good fit. And once we start working with a client, our goal is to help the client to actually grow their actual business. And on today's show, we're joined with a man who we've had the opportunity to work with. The company's called NWA Gutter Perfection. And my understanding, Carter, is that they're up over 60%. Is that right?
I would say that's correct, yes.
DJ, welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing, Clay?
I'm doing great. So for anybody out there who is doubting whether you're a hologram or not, what's the name of your company, sir?
Gutter Perfection.
How did you guys first hear about us? Do you know?
It's actually a friend of mine found out about your business conferences there, and then we went there, and I guess I was sold the first conference we went to.
If you go to nwagutterperfection.com, you can see they're a real company. They're a real business. They really are growing. What markets do you service there, DJ? For people out there that might be looking for your services, what's the market area that you service?
Pretty much all of Northwest Arkansas, Bentonville, Springdale, Fayetteville, Rogers, you know, the little surrounding towns there too.
And again, if you go to the website here, folks, nwagutterperfection.com, you can see they are a real business, real people having real success. DJ, I really do appreciate your time today, sir, and we'll talk to you soon.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, And it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis. And that simplicity brings power with it. So it shocked me how simple some of the stuff is. And at times I'm like, why didn't I think about that? Workflow creation, systematic marketing, and coaching has helped our church so much. You know, the workflow creation is what it really is they're going to look and see every moving part of your church, of your ministry, what needs to be done. And it's going to go up on a massive board. And so now what it does is it takes what you know needs to be done out of your heart and out of your head. Really takes the pressure, the stress off your shoulders, and it puts it on the board where your entire team, your ministry can see exactly what you want them to do every day. And so they know this is the playbook, this is what we're doing. And then there's laser sharp accountability with a meeting afterwards. Did it get done or not?
Clay, you're an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. I think YouTube is a tremendous educational platform for good and bad. So you've got to really, again, choose your teachers wisely as anything else. So the best lesson that sits in the back here, and I think you do it and Dr. Z does it. Once you learn something, if you really want to learn it, you got to teach it.
I think it's life-changing for me and how I approach business. Could you explain Octa, non-verba, what it means and how our listeners can apply it?
Clay, you gave me goosebumps, man. I'm glad it hit you as hard as it did. Octa non-verba is the motto of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point, New York. I had appointments with Naval Academy and Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy. And Merchant Marine Academy's motto was Octa non-verba. In other words, don't listen to what a person says. Watch what they do.
Well, the first time that I ever met you, Clay, was at that first conference in Tulsa. And that was an incredible conference. And I was so impressed with just the whole thing, just the professionalism, you as a person, your business, your work ethic, and really just who you are. And I was very impressed with all of that. And I thought, gosh, you know, this might be someone that I would really consider working with. Like maybe he could really help me. And that's really what got me interested, because I was so impressed with just the professionalism of all of it. And I learned a lot. I come about once a year to a business conference, and I'd like to come more, but every year I try to come with my marketing girl with me. And we always learn something. And I think next year I'm going to bring my husband because he really needs to come too.
And you're in McKinney, Texas, right? So how long have you been an orthodontist in McKinney, Texas?
So I've been an orthodontist for 26 years, practicing in McKinney.
And when you went to medical school, what percentage of the time in medical school or dentistry school, dental school, did they spend teaching you how to market and or grow your own practice?
Absolutely zero marketing skills.
Okay. And from when I talked to Andrew, you're the coach who works with you, I'm always hearing that more and more patients are coming in from Google. Could you talk about that? How much of an impact does it have having maybe a rebranded or updated website and Google leads coming in?
It has had a huge difference, absolutely huge difference in our patient load coming in. And, you know, before I really wasn't tracking really well. And that's one of the things I learned from Thrivetime Business was how to track patients coming in, how to really, how to see where they're coming from. And at the time, I really didn't know much about Google. And, you know, being an orthodontist for 26 years, I didn't really know a lot I kind of went through a time where I went through shock. It was really what I call culture shock, because the old ways of marketing were not working anymore. And because I really didn't know about online marketing, I was still doing, you know, phone book ads and magazine ads and all of these things. And so Thrivetime has really helped. And I will say that it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but if you stay the course, you're going to see results, because I'm absolutely convinced.
Dr. Christ, thank you for allowing us to take up some of your valuable time today. I really do appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you in person here soon.
All right. Thanks so much, Clay.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Okay, Aaron Antis, March 6th and 7th. March 6th and 7th, guess who's coming to Tulsa, Jerusalem?
Ooh, Santa Claus?
No, that's March. March 6th and 7th,
Oh.
we're going to be joined by Robert Kiyosaki.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Probably the best-selling, or one of the best-selling business authors of all time. And he's going to be joined with Eric Trump. He'll be joined by Eric Trump. So we got Eric Trump and Robert Kiyosaki in the same place.
In the same place.
Aaron, why should everybody show up to hear Robert Kiyosaki?
Well, you got billions of dollars of business experience between those two, not to mention many, many, many millions of books have been sold. Many, many millionaires have been made from the books that have been sold by Robert Kiyosaki. I happen to be one of them. I learned from the man. He was the inspiration. That book was the inspiration for me to get the entrepreneurial spirit, as many other people.
Now, since you won't brag on yourself, I will. You've sold billions of dollars of houses, am I correct?
That is true.
And the book that kickstarted it all for you,
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the author, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, the guy that kickstarted your career.
Yeah.
He's going to be here.
He's going to be here. I'm pumped.
And now Eric Trump, people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. There's not 50 employees. The Trump organization, again, most people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. And while Donald J. Trump was the 45th president of these United States and soon to be the 47th president of these United States, he needed someone to run the companies for him. And so the man that runs the Trump organization for Donald J. Trump, as he was the 45th president of the United States and now the 47th president of the United States, is Eric Trump. And so Eric Trump is here to talk about time management, promoting from within, marketing, branding, quality control, sales systems, workflow design, workflow mapping, how to build. I mean, everything that you see, the Trump hotels, the Trump golf courses, all their products, the man who manages billions of dollars of real estate and thousands of employees is here to teach us how to do it.
You are talking about one of the greatest brands on the planet from a business standpoint.
Right.
I mean, who else has been able to create a brand like the Trump brand? I mean, look at it. And this is the man behind the business for the last, pretty much since 2015. He's been the man behind it. So you're talking, we're into 9 going into 10 years of him running it. And we get to tap into that knowledge. That's going to be amazing.
This is objectively the highest rated and most reviewed business workshop on the planet. And then you add to that Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You add to that Eric Trump, the man that runs the Trump organization. You add to that Sean Baker. Now you might say, but Clay, is there more? I need more. Well, okay, Tom Wheelwright is the wealth strategist for Robert Kiyosaki. So people say, Robert Kiyosaki, who's his financial wealth advisor? Who's the guy who manages, who's his wealth strategist? His wealth strategist, Tom Wheelwright, will be here. And you say, Clay, I'm not going to get a ticket unless you give me more. Okay, fine. We're going to serve you the same meal both days. True story. We cater in the food, and because I keep it simple, I literally bring in the same food both days for lunch. It's Ted Escondido's, an incredible Mexican restaurant. That's going to happen. And Jill Donovan, our good friend, who is the founder of Rustic Cuff. She started that company in her home, and now she sells millions of dollars of apparel and products. That's rusticcuff.com. And someone says, I want more. This is not enough.
Give me more.
Okay. I'm not going to mention their names right now because I'm working on it behind the scenes here. But we've got one guy who's given me a verbal to be here. And this is a guy who's one of the wealthiest people in Oklahoma, and nobody really knows who he is because he's built systems that are very utilitarian, that offer a lot of value. He's made a lot of money in the it's where you rent. It's short term. It's where you're renting storage spaces. He's a storage space guy. He owns the what do you call that? The rental,
storage space.
Storage units. This guy owns storage units. He owns railroad cars. He owns a lot of assets that make money on a daily
I know who
basis,
you're talking about.
but they're not like customer facing. Most people don't know who owns the mini storage facility, or most people don't know who owns the warehouse that's passively making money. Most people don't know who owns the railroad cars, but this guy, he's given me a verbal that he will be here, and we just continue to add more and more success stories. So if you're out there today and you want to change your life, you want to give yourself an incredible gift, you want a life-changing experience, you want to learn how to start and grow a company, go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go there right now, thrivetimeshow.com. Request a ticket for the 2-day interactive event. Again, the day here is March 6th and 7th. March 6th and 7th, we just got confirmation. Robert Kiyosaki, best-selling author, Rich Dad Poor Dad, he'll be here. Eric Trump, the man who leads the Trump organization. It's going to be a blasty blast. There's no upsells. Aaron, I could not be more excited about this event.
I think it is incredible, and there's somebody out there right now, you're watching, and you're like, but I already signed up for this incredible other program called Smoke Your Way to Thin. I think that's going to change your life. I promise you, this will be 10 times better than that.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Don't do the Smoke Your Way to Thin conference. That is, I've tried it. Don't do it.
Yeah, chain smoking is not a viable. I mean, it is life-changing. It is life-changing. If you become a chain smoker, it is life-changing.
Not the best weight loss program, though.
Right,
Like,
not
I mean,
really.
So
So if you're looking to have life-changing results in a way that won't cause you to have a stoma, get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's Aaron Antis. I'm Clay Clark, and reminding you and inviting you to come out to the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I promise you, it will be a life-changing experience. We can't wait to see you right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
My name is Claire Yinger. I was looking to learn everything about business, which I have learned so many things. It's like drinking from a fire hydrant. I'm gonna have to do it again, multiple times. What I've learned so far has been, just a lot about processes, systems, the power of them, your due diligence. The list could go on and on and on. Well, listening to Clay is very entertaining, because he is entertaining, but also just meeting all the different people and having time and space to you're learning a lot, but then also being able to discuss with other people what they're learning and just getting different perspectives. So very entertaining, very funny, very thorough, but also could be random because it's full of a lot of stories, but it's also intentional. It's like everything he's doing is intentional, but you wouldn't be fully aware that it was, but it is.